Chapter 5, First Day of School. Journal. The first day of a new semester, the second half of 6th grade. Nothing will be different, except writing 2026 on my papers. 6:22 a.m. I hated waking up early, but it was the only time I could truly be at peace, before everything started. One last breath of air before I went under. "Raina, tuck in," I whispered. She immediately held out an arm so I could pull her out of bed, and she hopped right up. Holding up both arms to me, she replied, "Solomon, where my hug at?" I hoisted her up and quietly carried her to my bed. Good thing 5-year-olds are light, otherwise this wouldn't be happening. I wondered when this would end, but without realizing, I didn't want it to. Bending over to lay her in my bed, she muttered, "Pookie, Virginia is for lovers." Her current obsession was Virginia and slang. Yes, the state. And no, we don't live in Virginia. I don't even know how she learns any slang. It was not from me, and neither of us had a phone. And again, she is 5. I guess that goes back to her being obsessed, if that was the right word for it. When she latched onto something, she wanted to learn everything she could about it, and she somehow remembered it all. I wouldn't say she was a genius, but I don't know what to call it. Although, I doubt you could tell if someone was a genius at that age. How would they even figure it out? Because she knew more names of colors and shapes? If only she stored useful facts. Who would care that Virginia was the first colony and founded in 1607, or that it was the 10th state? How did I know that? Because I had to read all the facts to her. I didn't remember half of them, but when she repeated them all day long, some did stick, unfortunately. I pulled my fuzzy light blue comforter up to her chin and rubbed her frizzy hair. My comforter wasn't meant to be fuzzy, but it was falling apart like most things in my life. Why did parents buy baby blue for boys and light pink for girls to begin with? I knew it was a thing, but I was almost 12. How long did parents expect children to keep their baby things? In my case, I knew the answer was forever. Glancing down at the alarm clock on my nightstand, it read 6:25 exactly. That usually only gave me 30 minutes before Dad woke up, but today I could write a little longer because he was still gone. Not gonna lie, it's been a relief with him gone. If I were in a normal family, I would have been having fun with them during my winter break. Maybe that was why Dad left for a week on a work trip, to get vacation from his family. I wish I could show him the book that I was writing. Then I wouldn't have to wake up every day before the sun came up. Not an option. Stupid thinking. Hope only leads to disappointment. 8 a.m. Semester 2 has officially begun. But who cares? New kids will probably be in class. There always were. But they wouldn't stay. They were always just jerks who got kicked out of their school or were failing, and that ended them up here at Attrition Sanctuary Online School. Most kids called it SOS for short, like the ship distress call, because we all felt like we were going down and drowning at this scam of a school. But I just call this school ASS. Actually, I think that was the real name because they only made it online like a year before I got here. But like I was saying, no one stayed, because if they got too bad or if they actually got their grades up, they were gone. Who fails 6th grade anyway? And how is that even possible? The kids in my class for sure didn't do much work, and the work they do was absolutely hot dog water, and somehow they were still passing. Ha, doo-doo. But maybe there would be a new baddie to look at. Well, one that wouldn't murder me, and one that I could actually get into her DMs. Not that I wanted to forget about Tasha. I didn't know how it was possible that she didn't know I existed, even though there were only 12 students in our class. I mean, she had to know I existed, but I must not be worth the time. Zero interesting. That was me. There was something about Tasha. I pinned her screen so that only her screen was visible. Double benefit. I got to look at her, and I didn't have to look at anyone else. Staring at her eyes, I tried to figure out if they were more angry or mysterious. She had never smiled once this whole year. That couldn't be why I was interested in her. Maybe she hated school and this class as much as I did. She played with one of her pink braids that hung down, twirling it between her fingers. Without thinking, I quickly took a screenshot of her. More accurately, I purposely took my daily screenshot of her. I didn't do anything with the pictures except throw them in the Tasha folder, but maybe someday she would be impressed with hundreds of pictures of her. Sure. Hopefully there would be someone new that I could talk to. "Can you see my screen?" Mrs. Pennick asked as she adjusted her glasses, scrunching her face and moving closer than humanly possible to the camera. How was she an online teacher, but so bad with computers? How many years had she had this job and she still couldn't screen share? Why did us kids have to learn something in a day, be tested on it, and be expected to remember it forever? But adults? They didn't have to learn anything and could keep going. They got away with saying things like, I just can't get the hang of this, or these buttons keep changing. It must be nice not having to learn things or being able to blame others for everything. This month's project will be for Lunar New Year. Great. More project-based learning. More like teacher not working. How does she get paid for what she does? Nah, we can't see her screen, I muttered as I unmuted. Don't worry, I was not that student, but I had learned that if I didn't say anything, no one else would. Mrs. Pennick once made it through a whole lesson not knowing that she wasn't sharing her screen, and no one said anything. But after I failed the quiz the next day, I knew I had to care at least a little. Not that I cared that much about school. I mean, I did care about school, but when I failed a test, and it wasn't my fault, I didn't care. What I did care about was keeping my dad off my back. He wouldn't understand, and wouldn't try to. He would make a small problem a large problem. For me. That day, I had to teach myself how to divide fractions. Not fun. So now, I made sure Mrs. Pennick taught something. But that was not all. I also made sure my sister understood her work and got it all done. Her teacher didn't seem to be any better, considering the amount of things I needed to teach Raina each day. Brandon's video was clearly fake. It was just looping. He nodded, then a thinking look, nodded again, then squinted eyes, crunched eyebrows, mewing, Riz face, back to nodding. The worst part was that it was not even a clean loop. His nodding jumped, so it looked like someone hit fast forward or there was a glitch in the matrix. Then back to thinking, nodding, squinting. How did Mrs. Pennick fall for this? Mrs. Pennick's gruff, yet somehow weak voice interrupted my anger. I, of course, won't show your weights because that is confidential, and I know that preteens don't. Zeke unmuted and interrupted her. Solomon is triple digits, fatty, more like swallowed a man. He sat up so that everyone could clearly see his "Tell your mom I said hi" shirt and his hair that was so perfectly messy that you knew he spent half an hour on it. All I heard was laughing from one student at a time. This was nothing new. They each hit the space bar for a second to unmute, and Mrs. Pennick never saw who was talking because by the time she looked, everyone was muted again. She never knew who started it because once a new person talked, the green box switched to the new person talking. To finish it off, Mrs. Pennick talked, so then the green square was on her. Once again, they got away with it. Of course, I heard Mason's scrawny, nasally laugh. He always unmuted the longest. He must think it made him look cool because he never did anything that people would like him for. He never even had his camera on. He claimed it was broken, but if it was, he would just get another Chromebook from the school. Why was she still sharing her screen, and why did it have to be showing my weight? Come on, Mrs. Pennick, switch screens. I just knew Zeke was taking more screenshots of this. You mean more like saggy one, Jace rasped. His voice matched his hair, messy and dirty. His hair did not take half an hour to fix. It just took a week without a shower or a brush. Unlike Zeke, he slouched in his chair, probably trying to cover up that same black sweatshirt he had been wearing for weeks, months, for as long as I could remember. Class, what are you talking about? Remember, no mics until I say so, Mrs. Pennick chided, but in a tone that showed she didn't really want the answer. Maybe I was a little chubby, but it's not like I didn't try. I asked for an Apple Watch once to help keep me on track with goals and exercise, and Dad scoffed. You don't need a smartwatch to tell you that you sit on your ass all day. With him, one was never enough, so we followed it up with, I saw your grades today. You probably need a dumb watch. Our teacher said if we had a smartwatch, we could send her the logged workouts, and they would count for PE. I could use it to walk away from this hellhole for an hour, but instead, I was stuck doing PE inside of a house and in front of my whole class on video. I didn't know what was worse, doing it in front of them or in front of my dad. I could only hope they weren't watching though, because if they were, I was the only one ever on screen. They for real didn't need any more chances to make fun of me. I was probably safe though, because for everyone in class, PE time was free time. I bet they were off watching videos online or messaging each other. "Let's begin by jogging in place," Mrs. Pennick beamed. As quietly as I could, I gently began to run, because last time, Dad yelled from his office, "Why does this sound like a pig running for his life? I'm in a meeting." Wait, he wasn't even home yet. Duh. I stomped as loudly as I could.